Hello, everyone from another place and time. My name is John Bristow. Thanks for joining us. We are part of Ships. This is the 2025.4 release party. Hooray! And this is basically a celebration of all the features that we've shipped as part of 2025.4. If you go to octopus.com/what's new, you're going to see a page that looks like this. This is a summary of all the new features we've shipped in Octopus Cloud and the latest features and highlights of our 2025.4 release, which we shipped just a few days ago. So we've got a lot of stuff in here. And to help us celebrate and talk about this, I've got a number of folks from the team. This isn't everyone, so don't worry. This isn't the entire team. We've got Akira, we've got Harriet, we've got Kit, we have Ships, we have Jin. These are folks who are bringing you all these lovely features and more, and they're here to help talk about this. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to be here. This is, I think, our third release party that we've done. And this is basically to try and educate folks about what's shipped, what's available if you're an Octopus customer today, or perhaps you're interested about Octopus. Maybe you've listened to other people talk about Octopus in the office and, hey, we should start using Octopus. And you're curious about what's latest and greatest. This is the webinar for you. So to kick things off, we'll just start with the What's New page. So as I said before, you can go to /What's New. You can also go to our roadmap. I make the joke all the time, but make this your bookmark. Make it a bookmark, if not your homepage. This is at roadmap.octopus.com. And there you'll see a page that looks like this. Not only do we have our section of released features, which also coincides with our What's New, but we also have things like planned features and features that are possibly under construction. And you can also submit your own ideas as well by clicking this big blue button at the top. You can submit your ideas for features if you're so inclined. So this is roadmap.octopus.com. Live it, love it, use it. It's a great feature that we are using for all of our customers. But anyways, I digress. To kick things off, we'll go ahead and go around the table here, so to speak. So who would like to start off with a feature? Obviously, we can have a little competition here, but is there a feature that anyone would like to start talking about? Harriet, I'm looking at you because we just recently did a webinar about ephemeral environments. Did you want to talk about ephemeral environments at all?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm happy to kick us off.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me just the power of software. We'll go ahead and bring up your slides there.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, as John said, I'm Harriet, one of the product managers here at Octopus. The team that I am in kind of works towards focusing on our developers that use, or application engineers that are using Octopus, so making it kind of easy for you to do your job. And so part of that was one of the big problems that we hear a lot, which I'm hoping resonates with many of you, is the whole, but it worked on my machine, and you've done your change, you've done it in your local branch, and then you've gone and merged it in, and all of a sudden it's not working. And so we wanted to fix that problem, and so with that we built Ephemeral Environments, which running joke within especially my team is that this is a really hard word to say and spell. So if you don't know how to say and spell that, that is fine. Basically what it means is environments that spin up and tear down as and when you need them. And so basically what this is solving here is you can spin up a test environment based on a pull request or however you're doing it from your local branch or your feature branch, and then get that reviewed. So it kind of also brings in people like myself who are not technical or are designers, gives them an opportunity to see the change live before it's merged, and then giving you the confidence that when you merge it, hopefully everything doesn't fall apart, and kind of gives you a little bit more confidence that it's not going to come back to you that something's wrong. So this was a really cool feature to build, actually, and we went through so many different conversations of what the best sort of version of this was. This is what we've started with. It doesn't mean it's the end of Ephemeral Environments, but yeah, we're really excited to see how this works in everyone's instances, and if it helps solve this problem that we always hear, and hopefully it can sort of become a thing of the past.
Yeah, I love ephemeral environments. It reminds me of like dandelion spores. They just float away on the breeze and they go away after a while. But it's a great way of actually doing development because you can spin up these environments really quickly, test your changes, and then they just tear down. And they leverage runbooks, which is a first-class citizen in Octopus. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so runbooks are used to help provision and deprovision the infrastructure that you're using for your environments. So we kind of wanted to build on top of existing features within Octopus because we wanted to provide some sort of familiarity with what's going on instead of everything's new. So runbooks felt like a really good way of doing that. That said, though, if you're not provisioning infrastructure that way, that's fine. You don't need to use runbooks. It's completely optional. But it is a really quick and easy way to kind of add them in there, and yeah, have that infrastructure spun up for you based on your environments that you have, so that they're all kind of the same.
Awesome. Did you want to do a quick demo of this? I can spin up my environment here if you'd like, and we can take a look at this.
Yeah,
Awesome.
sure.
All
If
right.
you're prepared.
Yeah, sure. Why not? So here we are inside of Octopus. I like dark mode. If you like light mode, that's fine. I prefer dark mode, but there you go. So this is our environments section where you can add new environments. And you'll notice we have this new option now to spin up what's called a parent environment. What's this all about?
Yeah, so a parent environment is really the one new concept that we've brought in. And the idea behind the parent environment is it's used purely for scoping, targets, permissions, all of that for your ephemeral environment. So it acts almost as though it's the shell of what you're expecting your ephemeral environment to copy from.
Right.
So you can't actually deploy to it. So I think that's a really big thing that, especially during alpha, got a little bit confusing when we had some customers using it. So yeah,
Yes.
if you take away anything, is that this is not what you're deploying to. You're deploying to the ephemeral environment that's spun up from
That's right.
based off what's the parent environment.
So the parent environment it's got all I guess the variables. It's got this automatic deprovisioning aspect to it as well. So if you see these are sort of the telltale signs that you're dealing with a parent environment and you cannot deploy to it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And the kind of allows you to scope the way you want it to make sure that it's in a state that you're expecting it to be in.
Awesome. So the idea here is that I'll set up my environments, and you can see here I have a number of environments defined. I have development, staging, production. I got this new one that I just created just as a show too. But you'll also notice we have these different icons that represent obviously the type of environment that they are. So this is a normal environment, and this is a parent environment here. And you can see here that we can spin up these test environments for us to deploy to. So you can see we have a Kubernetes-based environment here that is a polling tentacle, which is obviously talking to this endpoint and we can talk to that for doing ephemeral deployments. And so if we jump back into our environment here, let me jump into a project. Let's take a look at project here. You can see this is the project that you may have seen this if you watched our webinar. Jeff did a really good job of showcasing this. I just wanted to showcase an example of what this might look like when you spin up these environments. Obviously, we have things like live object status here, which is awesome. Huge fan of this. This basically shows you the state of all your pods and your replica sets. And I know, Kit, you've talked about this in great detail, so that's cool. But we can take a look at a release here, for example, and we can see that the ephemeral environment will live as part of this release when deployed, and we'll be able to actually reference that instance. And now you'll notice here we actually get this endpoint that we can take a look at. So Harriet, what's this all about? We've got this endpoint we can touch. This is an ephemeral environment.
Yeah, so basically what that will do is if you go in there, it will bring up your ephemeral environment. And there, you'll see your
Joker
change.
2000, awesome.
Yeah, so this is something that we built just to be able to play around with. So there's many demos that we've got out
Yes.
in the world at the moment. So you'll see the many times that Jeff changes that to pink because it's my favorite color. So yeah, it gives you, that's kind of where it's logged for you to be able to see the change that you've made.
Awesome. And you can also take a look at your ephemeral environments here listed if you had any, and you can also take a look at the settings associated with this as well. So you can see here for this project, I have a parent environment set up as test environments. My channel that I'm associated with is called test environments. And I also, as Harriet was indicating, I have my runbooks for provisioning and deprovisioning. So this is really cool. I can actually see the setup scripts for setting up my ephemeral environment and then tearing it down. Great. One question that obviously comes up a lot is, can I use this with other CI processes like GitHub, for example?
Yes, GitHub is definitely, we've actually got a first class GitHub web action that has just, sorry, that's not what I mean, a GitHub action
Yes.
that has just gone public. So that is to help with the provisioning and deprovisioning of the ephemeral environments that you can use. So if you just want to do it in GitHub, that's fine. You can also obviously do these in whatever sort of tools you're using. It's available. You can kind of spin them up and tear them down using Terraform through the CLI, however you kind of desire. But the GitHub action is definitely what we would suggest having a look at and using, because it will make this process so much faster and simpler for you.
That's awesome stuff. And yeah, obviously, if you're a developer who cares about testing and in a production-like manner, meaning they want to see the environment spin up and then track changes, maybe run some test scripts, etc., maybe ephemeral environments might be for you. Is there anything else you want to tell us about ephemeral environments, Harriet, as part of this latest release?
There's probably one more thing, which is obviously it's really easy to show it in this state where we've already kind of played around with it. When you're getting started for the very first time, we do have basically a wizard that will walk you through the different steps. So a lot of this you don't necessarily have to set up yourself. So apart from the runbooks, which you might want to set up in beforehand, it will, this won't let you do it because it's already got the, it's already been set up. But if you, basically, if you're starting from scratch, it will create the channel for you. So we're using a channel just to separate both your standard production deployments and ephemeral deployments. And then, so it will create the parent environment for you as well. And it will do that all in the background. It applies the auto deprovisioning rules. If you've got a runbook to attach, you can attach it at that time. If you don't, you can go away and create one and come back. And then once you hit save at the end, it will be all set up for you. So it's pretty magical. You don't necessarily need to go into every different element of the product itself. So
that's awesome.
There's a really cool way to set up as well if it's just a little bit complicated at the start.
Yeah, if you want to you can check out the recording of the ephemeral environments. We have the webinar recording available at /webinars. So you can see Harriet and Jeff do a much more thorough demo than I did, obviously. We're just trying to, we're trying to paint within the lines here, sort of thing. So
Absolutely.
You can watch that at /webinars if you're so inclined. Awesome stuff, Harriet. Thank you so much. Jumping back to the What's New page, you can see we got lots of features. Who would like to go next? Who would like to talk about something that's latest and greatest inside of Octopus 2025.4?
We can go.
Crowd goes silent. All right, who's next?
We're happy to chat. We can chat.
All right, go ahead.
Great. Okay,
right, so Jen, introduce yourself. You're a relatively new employee at Octopus. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a newbie. This is my second month at Octopus now. So I'm the product manager for the AI Foundations team.
Okay.
Here. And our remit is really about how do we superpower Octopus's core mission with AI capabilities. So how do we actually improve what we have on our core kind of value to market with AI, and then what new value can we also create on top of that? So it's pretty exciting. It's a good time to be at Octopus in this space, and there's a lot of really good investment there and a lot of good brains on this one. So it's exciting.
Yeah, looking at our docs here, we have some new nodes in here. So I know that folks have heard about the AI Assistant, which is a Chrome extension to help give you some guidance about your development processes, etc. We have our MCP, which you can find up on GitHub as well. We also have a new thing here called the Recovery Agent. Give us a synopsis of everything that you guys are looking at in terms of our AI strategy.
Yeah, so in terms of our AI strategy, we are looking at, like I mentioned, how do we superpower Octopus's core mission, and then also what new value can we take to market. So we've got these really brilliant capabilities that have just come to market, like Ship's team have been doing. The platform hub. So what platform hub? So what does it look like to supercharge the platform hub and all those new capabilities there with AI around best practice, for example, is something we're going to be looking at, best practice analysis, compliance adherence, and those kind of things that AI can really help look across, for example, the platform view and surface up to the top what's going well, what's not going well, and how do we really inform new people, for example, around onboarding, or even just surface things like where our deployment's drifting from how we should be doing things. How can we use AI to get all of that information, surface it to the top, and equip our users to, improve their compliance, improve their deployments.
So you guys have been busy. You've been shipping a lot. We've got, as I said before, our MCP server. We've got our deployment failure analyzer, which is part of AI Assistant anyway. Prompt-based project creation, and then best practices advisor as well. There's some new things that you guys have obviously built as well. Are there any demos you'd like to show, Akira?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's switch over to you.
Let's have a look at the recovery agent. So just to as an example here, I created a project that will print a free. It's just a bash script for now, so it's just printing a bunch of variables in here. And let's have a look at a release and see how it's deploying. So just to speed things up, I created a release already and I click on deploy, and the deployment failed, but it just says pretty much
Exit code 2. I know that one very well.
Like, what is exit code 2, right? Like, so
Yes.
it's not clear on top of our head, so we can just use the recovery agent, click on suggest a fix. And what's happening here behind the scenes is that we are using Azure OpenAI GPT to help us analyze the deployment log and to understand and clarify what happened and suggest a fix to the deployment process. So it is suggesting here to have a look at the missing quotes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So behind the scenes, we are using this Azure OpenAI GPT. We're sending not just the task log, but we're also sending the deployment process definition in there, and the OpenAI can come back to us and suggest, and we stream the response as it go. Yeah.
That's really cool. I like this feature a lot. I'll finally get some reasoning behind the errors of all my deployments now.
Yeah, it's quite handy. As you can see, like this, the quote that was missing here.
It's a demo. It's okay. People understand.
It is, as when you look at the deployment process, it's really easy to miss some little details, but yeah, the recovery agent can make it much more clear.
So, Jim, this will only show up when there's an error. Is that right?
Yeah, the deployment, the recovery agent will only show up when there's an error, and then let's create a release in here. But we will show a button to fix the deployment. To suggest a fix. So we'll see this button here, suggest a fix, and then you can click, and that's when it kicks off.
Sorry, Jid, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say this is a really good example for how we're thinking about AI, because our core kind of reason for being is to equip our customers to do successful complex deployments at scale. We know that for our customers, one of the most critical metrics they're looking at is that mean time to recovery. So when things do go wrong, how do you get back on track as fast as possible? And for us, we're being really problem driven and problem led rather than AI for AI's sake. But this is a perfect candidate because when things do fail, there's a lot of information that you could go and look at to try and understand what's going on. There's a lot you just spend a lot of time on, but it's a great candidate for AI, which can go through all that information, surface up in a really digestible format, stuff that matters. And you can definitely go through and look at in more detail if you want that information, you want to inspect it yourself, that's all there. But this just surfaces that so that you can quickly understand what's going on and then quickly recover, getting back to that mean time to recovery metric. And the cool thing is, so this is us stepping to the agent space. Currently, it's just a diagnostic tool, so it's just telling you what went wrong and suggesting a fix. But we'll be looking at then what's next. Obviously, how do we act back on the system? So what does it then look like for an agent to go and take those remediation steps? And what does it look, tackling really important questions like what does it look like to have the right level of human in the loop there? What does it look like to have the right level of information available, logging and things like that? So this is just version 1 of the recovery agent. It's something we're going to be evolving and really taking us into, again, answering some of our core problems, but really superpowering that with AI.
That's awesome. And speaking of agents, obviously, there's this latest blog post from GitHub where they were talking about the announcements they made around custom agents. We were mentioned as one of the partners for this. And so this is really exciting stuff. Like, you can create release notes as part of this. And this is one example of some of the things you can do around agentic AI. This is awesome stuff, Jen. Like, you guys are really cooking with gas here.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great time to be in this space. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of, we have this dedicated team, but there's a lot of smarts around the entire Octopus team on opportunities that we can apply these capabilities to. And we're getting really good investment and focus from the business. So, 2026 is going to be a big year for us in this space. So keep your eyes peeled.
So we're called out here as the release notes agent. So at one point I'm like, is there a product called release notes? I don't think so, but that's just the name that we've given that. So awesome stuff. Was there anything else we wanted to mention on the AI front before we move over to other things?
I would just say the last one on this is currently only available to cloud customers. It's rolling out to GA release this week. So all of our cloud customers, that would be the last sort of caveat on that one. So we haven't yet got anything in the roadmap for our server customers, but that's something that we're looking at in the new year.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Akira. Thanks, Jen. Awesome stuff. We've got ephemeral environments covered. We've covered AI. What else should we cover? Like, it's just the list gets going stronger and stronger. Ships, did you want to talk a little bit about Platform Hub?
Yeah, that sounds great. So as some of you may already know, we've been investing in Platform Hub. It's a space where platform teams and platform engineers can go and scale best practices and delivery across their organization in a safe manner. So it's last quarter we released our first ever feature in that space, which is process templates.
Yeah.
And this quarter, that's now available to all of our customers, including self-hosted and cloud. All of our enterprise customers have Platform Hub available. And we've released another feature called policies this year as well. This quarter as well. So I can definitely dive into each of those. But first, let's just talk about the problems these solve, right?
Yes.
So we've, over the last couple of years, we've been speaking to many platform teams. And I think the biggest pain point is that they want to scale, but not slow down developers and compromise on speed, flexibility, and autonomy. And often teams create these golden paths, but that usually comes at the cost of just having full control with the platform team, and then they become the bottlenecks. So we really believe that platform teams should be force multipliers and not bottlenecks. And so I think templates, process templates specifically, allow you to then build these building blocks and Lego blocks that go into your deployment pipelines and work great, not just on day one, but on day 300 as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the point of templating with process templates. And this quarter we've released policies which actually help you shift compliance left. It helps you enforce some of these templating and best practices as early as possible into your CI/CD pipelines. And they work great in combination with templates, but also without them. So you can enforce steps, you can verify packages come from relevant branches, and a few other capabilities.
That's awesome. So the way I like to think of templates is they're sort of like a reproducible set of steps that you can use in your deployment process, just getting down to brass tacks. And then policies are enforcement layers where we'll check to see whether or not you're doing things correctly. So it's kind of like guardrails in a sense.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's funny you bring up guardrails. This, originally we started thinking about these as blueprints and guardrails, and then eventually, the features shaped up to be templates and policies.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So did you want to show us a little demo or kind of talk a little bit about what's new?
Yeah, let's jump in. So with process templates, so this is, firstly, I just want to highlight, I'm in a new area of the product called Platform Hub. In there, we have process templates. And here's an example of a process template which deploys an Azure web app. It asks for, that has a bunch of steps: manual intervention, running Terraform, send a notification, and it has a bunch of parameters that app team can then use to customize it. So I'll jump over to a project that's using it. So this is our standard project view. In here, if we jump in, my process currently uses this process template. And as app team, I don't really have to worry about, what the steps are. I can just specify the parameters, save, and start creating a release.
So one thing I'm noticing, there's a strong line around that series of step templates there. So that's indicating to me that's sort of like a fence ring in a sense. It's like you can't change this. This is a template that you have to use as part of this deployment process.
Correct, exactly. So we've sort of made some UI UX improvements to make that super clear that this template cannot be edited by your application team. So it's given to them that you have to use it as is. They can only customize it using these parameters.
Right.
And if we jump into the settings, you'll see also what version of the template I'm currently using.
Right.
And also whether I'm happy to accept minor changes or patch changes when there are updates made to this template automatically.
Yeah, this is cool. So you can actually version these things and then issue them out as people are using them.
Exactly. And so this is where, that whole problem of like drifting across your templates gets solved, because what we found was a lot of teams would create these templates day one, but then keeping them evolving with best practices as new compliance requirements come through or security requirements come through was really hard. And rolling out new changes to templates was really hard. So, we've built that first class. So making, rolling out changes to your template and maintaining them over, months and years is actually a breeze.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, so that's kind of how process templates work. And with this release, there's a bunch of UI UX improvements, but I think the biggest one to call out is before last quarter, we were only supporting built-in steps as part of templates. Now we actually support custom step templates and community step templates as well.
Awesome. This is so exciting.
Yeah. All right, cool. The real power, like I said, comes in when we publish it. So that's what I'll do. I'll just add a new parameter to show you a quick demo.
Loving the design changes here, by the way. This is awesome.
It looks really polished and modern, doesn't it?
Yes. I know we say that like we're surprised ourselves. But the design team is doing such a good job. It makes us look so good.
Yeah, so when you specify a parameter, you can also specify a default value here, and
Cool.
it can be optional. So I can just do a quick commit, publish it out. I'll publish it as a minor change, so it gets rolled out automatically because the
Nice.
template doesn't actually break the deployment process itself. And then that gets published out. Go back here.
So the thing that people have to remember here as Ships is switching tabs here is that you're moving from, say, I'm the author of the template to now I'm the consumer of the template.
That's right. So as a consumer, I just refreshed my deployment process, and you can see the new parameter just showed up. I can go and change the value, save,
there you
and go create a release. Really ready to go.
Fantastic.
Cool. Okay, so let's jump into policies, because that's the new shiny thing this
Yes.
quarter. So I've created a policy that says for all releases, that all projects that have demo in them, in this case, and are in my space, please ensure that the process template of Azure, the process template we were just seeing, is actually in the process, in the deployments, and is not being skipped and is being enabled. So what this means is I'm checking the process template's actually there in the process, and if it's not there, I will actually block the deployment from happening.
So let's just stop for a second here, because I just want to clarify. This is a language called Rego, and this is used predominantly in, Rego, excuse me. Sorry,
yes.
You're right.
No worries.
Rego, and it's very popular with, obviously, folks who ascribe to the Open Policy Agent, or OPA, and this is the way in which you define policies.
That's right. It's become the the standard language in which you define and use policies. And so we've brought in a policy engine that goes and processes these across deployments in Octopus. And yeah, you can easily define these using Open Policy Agent as well. All right, so this gives us the superpower of enforcing those guardrails that we were speaking about earlier. And in this case, it says that the process template must be of version 2 or more. So
Right.
in this use case is where you've upgraded your process template, but you want to ensure that all the app teams now use the latest version, and there might be some breaking changes in there for which they have to do some work to provide possibly a new parameter. And so this sort of policy will help you enforce that going forward, app teams must use the latest version. So this is already saved. What I'll do instead, so the older version doesn't enforce that. This new version enforces that. So I will just go enable this one instead, this new
That's
version.
nice. I like that.
Yeah, so the new version of policy that checks for the process template version being used is now enabled. Now remember, we're still using a 1.1 version here. So if I create a release and, hope to the demo gods, this works, and deploy it to development, this should hopefully fail. Yes, perfect.
Hey.
Oh, I see the recovery agent.
Hey.
I won't try that at the moment.
Little callback. I like it.
Yeah, but
convenient.
yeah, how convenient. But right now it says it does not comply with the latest policy, which is what I've just applied to this.
We're gonna have product teams fighting each other for supremacy now. I love it. So there you go. The recovery agent will fix the problem. The policy agent will do something different. There you go.
Yeah. So in this way, you can not just enforce process templates, you can enforce any kind of steps you want. So if there is a step that, maybe you have a requirement that you must have an approval before a deployment happens, you can enforce that step's present at the beginning of every deployment process across all your spaces. And the good thing about all of this is all of this actually gets logged in the audit log. So
Ooh, nice.
you can, so you can go back into your audit log, if I can find it.
I think that's at the root level, but yeah, it's under tasks. You got a bunch of logs and a variety of So there's your audit log.
Yeah. So here's our audit log, and you can start to see that the recent violation has been logged where my project was not complying. So you can use this to go at the end of the year, or every year or quarter, whenever the auditors come knocking at your door, it's like, hey, we've got a log of which teams are following our best practice and compliance, and you have got the evidence to show for it.
So instead of Git blame, it's now policy violation blame, which is awesome. So there you go. Ships has showed us not only an update on some of the changes I've gone with templates, but also the new feature, which is policies. That's awesome. Well done. That's a great release. Anyways, Kit, I know lastly but not leastly, I mean, we have a lot of stuff mentioning. We've got we've talked about AI, we've talked about a bunch of things. Obviously on the Kubernetes Argo side, there's lots of stuff that we ship there. So we now have obviously our Argo integration along with our support for Kubernetes with features in the Kubernetes agent. What did you want to show us as part of the release party here today?
Yeah, it was a big quarter for Kubernetes and Octopus, and we shipped 3 things that are now available on both cloud and on-prem. So let's talk starting from smallish and go into the big Argo CD and Octopus thing. So first and foremost, we all know, hopefully, that Octopus has a Kubernetes agent. And the agent is a big change in the Kubernetes game, released more than a year ago, and now it's the most popular default way to deploy to Kubernetes in Octopus. And this is a way how you can connect to the cluster without exposing your cluster API and basically making this the most secure and less invasive way of deployment, because you also need you don't need workers, and agent does all the deployments, all the security, secret management operations just within your cluster. So it's a very safe environment. So it's been there for quite some time. It's been used heavily. And what we heard from the most advanced customers is, hey, we really want to get one way further and just allow people not just to control, because you can control Kubernetes agent with a lot of permissions in Kubernetes cluster. You can make it very granular and define what it can do. But what people want is they want to control what each team or each project can do on the cluster through the Kubernetes agent. Like, for example, we have team number 1, and they own a few namespaces and a few applications. And we have a team B, and they work on different set of applications within the same cluster. This is a common scenario for many customers. And we want to completely avoid any situation then team number one can actually influence or impact or change anything that wasn't meant for them to change. Maybe it was deployed by another team or deployed by infrastructure team. With the new agent, you can actually do it all in Octopus, and the beauty of that, you don't need to configure it on the Octopus side. You can use Kubernetes built-in airbag mechanisms to achieve that. So basically, then agent now runs the deployment with this advanced setting. Agent will look into Kubernetes permissions, follow them, regardless of what agent can do. It will limit the particular deployment to the scope that your admins provided. And this is actually quite powerful if you want to go into this deep compliance and audit rules, and you really want to follow and ensure that there is no way you can do something wrong. You basically can protect in the best possible way the cluster from Octopus in a way, right? So even if you have admin permission Octopus, this is the last level of defense. Yeah, so it's now available for all customers. We strongly encourage people to try it, give us feedback. It's a very technical product, but yes, the people who know they need it, they know how to use it. So the next thing which we want to share today is Kubernetes Live Object Status. Again, it's a new thing. It's been released earlier this year, and for now, more than 100 customers use it every day. Just in case, if you can share my screen, John.
Yep. There you go.
This is our samples instance, and what the live status does, it does this beautiful transformation. So the dashboard now is live. If you deploy into Kubernetes, you can see the health and the state of your apps right here on one screen, as mentioned earlier, and get all the information you need to debug, troubleshoot, understand the health state of it. So in September this year, we released this feature for on-prem customers. With one unfortunate exception, Live Object Status wasn't available for HA instances. So if you run more than one instance and for scalability, you couldn't use the feature. From now
just
on,
for folks,
with the new release,
sorry to interrupt, Kit. Just for folks, HA, high availability, folks who are running Octopus in a cluster environment.
Yeah, and so now it's not an issue anymore. So if you run HA mode in Octopus for self-hosted, you can use it. So now it's fully available for every customer, and we saw already a spike of adoption. So yep, if you use HA, you haven't had access to this feature yet. Now it's the time, update the Octopus and just start using it. It's great and it helps a lot. Finally, probably the biggest thing we released so far in this quarter is Argo CD in Octopus. So as people know, Argo CD in Octopus is one of the default ways to deploy to Kubernetes. It's the GitOps engine. It allows you to sync manifests and gives you beautiful UI. What it doesn't do, though, it doesn't actually allow you to automate your deployment of your software delivery cycle. So people usually solve that with some other tools, or according to the recent survey we did, half of people still do it manually. So you literally change manifest in Git every time you want to promote changes from.
Wait. Half of them do it manually?
Yeah, we asked people about what techniques you use, and about half of them said, yeah, we also still do it somewhat manually.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that works if you have 5 apps, maybe still okay if you have 10. If you have 30, 50 of, 100, that's definitely a bad idea. But it's really hard to do if the tool doesn't give you this out of the box. So a lot of people go into also build it yourself automation with a bunch of scripts running on Jenkins or GitHub Actions. This is like by far the most popular way of doing this. And it also has a lot of features like it doesn't scale, for example. So we saw a lot of people actually using Octopus for Argo CD even before we introduced the feature last year or earlier this year. And we realized that, hey, actually, there is definite value in combining the power of Octopus as its de-orchestration engine and the power of Argo, that's like a great GitOps engine with nice UI features and live observability. So we introduced Argo CD in Octopus. In a nutshell, what it does, Octopus can now treat Argo CD and updates for Argo CD manifest as one of deployment steps. I have a few steps here on the screen, a few projects here on the screen. Like, let's just look into one of them as a reference. It's a very simple example, of course. Like, we didn't want to make it complicated for the sake of a demo, but this is like something that a customer would really do in Octopus. So what we see here, we see Argo embedded in the typical process we have. It's like, hey, first of all, let's approve a deployment. And this is manual in Octopus. Yes, some people still click, and it's not a bad idea for production. An approval button if you want to run a deployment. And then, yeah, we need to update the Argo app and ensure that the new version is actually running on the cluster. This is like pure GitOps method, although it's embedded in the CD process. And then when the app is updated, we want to run a smoke test because, hey, we don't want to do it manually, and why not to just add it to the process? And then if we have any issues, we will inform our team that something failed so they can quickly take a look and fix it. And at the very end, we want to also scan for vulnerabilities. So all of those steps are now combined, sequenced, and you can control them from one place. And you don't need to, if you're a developer, you need to think about it. You just run it. It's actually run automatically if you deploy, upload the new container, and it's just there for you. And if something fails, you go in one place, see all the results, and know what happened.
And then, Jen, you can use the recovery agent possibly to see what happens.
You can use recovery agent for that. And you can use the template, to create this.
Exactly. Templating and making the approval mandatory at the beginning.
Love it.
You see where it's all going, right? It's like, all working together. And finally, of course, you can use live tests with it too. So all this application is also live. You can open an app and go into it, dive into all the deployed resources and the child resources, and go into drawers, understand what's going on, like how the manifest looks. If there is a diff, you can see the diff, explore logs, events, and everything else. So all of that is going right through Argo. You can see the health and sync status on one screen, and obviously on all the apps across all the environments. How can you use it? Just find this new tab in the infrastructure section, and just click this green button and connect to your Argo CD instance. As soon as you've done that, you'll see all your apps available on this beautiful screen. And with the simple annotation, you can map your Argo app to Octopus and start your deployments. It takes about 10 minutes. Just, try it out. And this feature is available on cloud and also available for all self-hosted customers, still early access. So we're looking for feedback. We have a bunch of ways to tell us what you think, use a roadmap, use the in-product build and feedback form, chat to us, and really looking forward to learn how people use it. And we'll make it better.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So we've gone in total, just to recap everything. You've seen a lot. So we started with Harriet, Ephemeral Environments, talked about all this as part of the What's New set of features. We then talked about our AI capabilities with Jin and Akira, talking about the recovery agent, talking about the AI assistant, talking about our MCP server. Then we talked about our blueprints and guardrails, aka our policies and templates. And then we wrapped up with Kit talking obviously about Argo CD support, our improved Kubernetes agent around RBAC controls, etc. All of this and more, of course, you can find on our What's New page. And folks, that wraps up the 2025.4 release party. Are there any final parting words? Obviously, you guys are all looking for feedback. Is that the sort of general one thing that you guys all want to share with our customers?
Use it all together. Combine those things together.
Yeah,
that's way more fun.
That have been bestowed, right?
Awesome. So obviously there's the what's new page. There's also the roadmap. As I always jokingly say, make it your homepage, if not a bookmark. Submit a feature, submit an idea that you'd like to see. I know that these folks and more are always listening. Any final words before we wrap up? Awesome. It's not often you get product managers and developers not wanting to talk a lot about their features, but I guess we've exhausted the topic, so we'll wrap things up there. Anyways, on behalf of myself, Harriet, Akira, Jin, Ships, Kit, and everyone else at Octopus Deploy, we hope you enjoy 2025.4. Make sure to tell your friends to download. Yes? Was there something else? All right, never mind. Make sure to tell your friends, your family to download and install 2025.4. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. And on behalf of all of us here, happy deployments.